Chosen one, stop. Right now, before you scroll past this, before you tell yourself this is just another video, and keep moving, I need you to understand something. You did not find this message. This message found you. And the difference between those two things is everything. Archangel Michael has been standing at the edge of your life for weeks now, watching, waiting. Not because he is powerless, not because heaven has become distant or distracted or suddenly stopped paying attention to what you are going through. He has been waiting because he was holding this moment in his hands until the exact second when your heart was ready to receive it. And that second is right now. So please, stay with me. Do not let your finger move yet. What he has to say cannot wait any longer, and you have waited long enough to hear it. Take a breath, my dear child. Not a shallow one. Not the kind you take automatically without feeling. A real one. Let it go down into somewhere deep. Somewhere you have not let anything reach in a long time. Because what I am about to tell you is not a gentle comfort designed to make you feel warm for 5 minutes before you forget it. What Archangel Michael has carried to you today is a revelation. One that explains why you have been restless lately. One that explains why the nights feel longer than they should. One that explains why you keep sensing that something is about to shift, even though nothing in your visible life has changed yet. You feel it, don't you? That quiet pull underneath everything. That low hum in the background of your daily life, like a string being slowly tuned, tightening, getting ready to ring out. You have been feeling it for a while now, and you have not been able to name it. And that namelessness has made it harder to trust. You keep wondering if you are imagining things. You keep asking yourself whether what you are sensing is real, or whether you are simply hoping so hard that your mind is creating signals that aren't there. It is real. It is not anxiety. It is not wishful thinking. It is not your imagination working overtime. That pull, that hum, that low persistent sense that something enormous is just on the other side of where you are standing right now. That is heaven preparing you. That is Archangel Michael clearing the ground ahead of you, so that when the thing arrives, you will not be caught off guard. You will be ready. If you have been seeing repeated numbers lately, if certain songs have been hitting you in a place you cannot explain, if you have woken up in the middle of the night and could not tell why, write the words "I feel it" in the comments right now, because Archangel Michael sees you. He wants you to know you are not imagining it, and you are not alone in it. Now I need to tell you something that very few people in your life have had the courage to say to your face. Something that the people around you either could not see or chose not to name. Something that heaven has been watching for a long time and has finally decided can no longer be left in the dark. There is someone close to you who has not been who they appear to be. Archangel Michael did not come here to frighten you. He came here because he loves you too fiercely to allow you to keep walking through a room that has a fire burning in it without telling you. He came because watching you carry a weight you do not fully understand, while the source of that weight walks freely beside you, wearing a friendly face, finally became too much for him to witness in silence. A snake has been in your circle, not a stranger, not someone who showed up once and left, someone whose face you recognize, someone whose name would not be the first one to rise in your mind if you sat down and tried to think of who might wish you harm. That is by design. The snake does not announce itself. It does not arrive with obvious malice written across its face. It arrives with warmth, with availability, with the kind of helpfulness that makes you feel grateful rather than cautious. But heaven sees everything that happens in the dark. Every whisper said about you in rooms you were not in. Every prayer whispered against you dressed as concern. Every moment of your vulnerability that was observed and catalogued and used, not to protect you, but to maintain access that served them. Archangel Michael watched all of it. The grief he felt was not the small grief of inconvenience. It was the deep grief of someone who loves you and could see exactly what was being taken from you while you remained unaware. He waited, not because he was helpless, but because he knew if the truth had come too soon, it would have broken you in a way that took years to recover from. He used that time to build something in you instead. He fortified the places the snake had been quietly eroding. He made sure that when the revelation finally came, you would be standing on solid enough ground to receive it without crumbling. That ground is the one you are standing on today. Write the words "I am ready to see clearly" in the comments if this is landing in your chest right now. Because what Archangel Michael is asking you to do is not easy. Seeing clearly is not always a comfortable thing, but it is a freeing thing, and freedom is what heaven is releasing over you today. That constant heaviness you feel around certain people, where you leave a conversation drained even if nothing obviously wrong was said. That is discernment. A divine alarm system trying to communicate something true to you. You kept overriding it because you did not want to be unfair, because you thought skepticism was the opposite of love. But discernment is not skepticism. Discernment is wisdom. Archangel Michael gave it to you as a gift so heaven could speak to you in a language beneath words. That exhaustion that does not respond to rest, lives deeper than the body. That is the weight of spiritual interference. What happens when a connection that was never meant to exist has been drawing from you? That kind of tiredness does not go away with sleep. It goes away with severance, and the severance has already begun. That feeling that your blessings keep arriving at the door, but something keeps redirecting them before they reach you. That is not imagination. That is a real dynamic that heaven has identified and is now dismantling. The prayer Archangel Michael has released over your life today is one of severance and restoration. What was cut is being healed. What was redirected is being rerouted back. What was blocked is being opened. This is why things have felt stuck. This is why the answer seemed right there, inches away, but something kept standing between you and it. It was not God withholding. It was an assignment against you that heaven has now removed. The obstacle is gone. The road is clear. And now that the interference is gone, listen to what Archangel Michael says is moving toward you. There is a person who has been thinking about you, not occasionally, in the way most people drift through each other's thoughts, consistently, persistently, in a way that has begun to unsettle them, because they cannot account for it. They are not someone who gives their attention or their admiration easily. They have seen enough of the world to have developed a healthy skepticism of things they cannot explain. They have resources, they have reach, they operate in spaces that can change the direction of a life. And yet, in the middle of all of that, in the middle of their full and complicated existence, your name keeps returning to them. Your energy keeps surfacing in their thoughts, at moments when they are not expecting it and were not inviting it. They have tried to rationalize it. They have tried to redirect themselves. They have told themselves that what they are feeling is probably just a passing thing, that it will fade if they give it enough time and attention to other matters. But it has not faded. Like a tide that keeps returning to the same shore regardless of the weather, their spirit keeps coming back to you. They are beginning to understand that this is not something they are generating on their own. They are beginning to sense that they are being drawn rather than choosing to move. That sense is correct. This is not random attraction. This is not coincidence or chemistry or the ordinary magnetism of personality. This is divine arrangement. Archangel Michael confirmed what heaven wrote long before either of you understood what it meant. What this person feels toward you was not their idea. It was authored above them, set in motion before they ever encountered you, designed to arrive at precisely the moment that the snake's removal made the path clear enough for it to come through. You were not chosen for this because of your achievements. You were not chosen because of your appearance or your connections or anything you have built with your own hands. You were chosen because of something that lives in the deepest, most untouchable part of who you are. Something sacred and undefeatable. A quality of light that exists in you, not because you cultivated it, but because you were made with it, and no amount of difficulty, no prolonged season of waiting, no snake moving quietly through your circle, has been able to extinguish it. This person can feel that light, even without being able to name it, even across distance, even without a clear or logical explanation for why their spirit keeps orienting toward yours. Their soul knows what it recognizes even when their mind has not yet caught up. And your soul is about to remember them too. I want to speak now to the part of you that has grown tired of hoping, because I know that part is there. Underneath the faith and the prayers and the patient effort of continuing to believe, there lives a quieter voice that has been whispering things you would not say out loud. Things like, maybe it is not for me. Maybe the good things are for other people. Maybe I have waited too long, missed too many windows, made too many mistakes to still be eligible for what I am waiting for. Archangel Michael heard every single one of those whispers, and the grief he felt was not disappointment in you. It was the deep, aching grief of someone who can see the full picture and had to watch you begin to talk yourself out of receiving what was already written for you. He is standing here right now telling you that you are not too late, not as comfort. As fact, you are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not the exception to the promise. Every door that closed was protecting you from something you could not see from where you were standing. Every no that arrived when you needed a yes was steering you away from a path that would have cost you things heaven was not willing to let you lose. Every painful silence was doing something in you that the presence of easy answers never could have done. You did not break. You stayed soft when everything was working to make you bitter. You kept your heart open when closing it would have been the logical thing to do. You kept praying when you had no evidence that anyone was listening. You kept showing up when you had every reason to stop. That is the single most powerful spiritual posture a human being can hold. And heaven was moved by it in a way that angels rarely witness. Subscribe to this channel now if you want to continue receiving these messages, because what Archangel Michael is bringing in the coming weeks is connected to what he is speaking over you today, and you will not want to miss the next part of what he has to say. Now, let me tell you specifically what the removal of this snake means for the days immediately ahead of you. Because this is not an abstract spiritual shift that you will only understand in retrospect. This is something you will begin to feel in your body, in your daily life, in the quality of the moments that make up your ordinary days. You will feel lighter in spaces where you previously felt drained without understanding why. The weight that has been sitting on you in certain conversations, in certain rooms, in certain dynamics that you could never quite pinpoint will begin to lift, not all at once but steadily. The way fog clears as the sun rises, rather than disappearing in a single instant. Opportunities that were being quietly rerouted will begin to arrive through doors you had already decided were sealed. You will find yourself in conversations you did not orchestrate, crossing paths with people you did not arrange to meet, receiving information or invitations through channels you could not have predicted. Heaven is not finished working on your behalf. It is, in fact, only now able to work without the obstruction that was interfering with the delivery. People around you will begin to look at you differently, not because you will change in any visible way, but because the spiritual static that was distorting how others perceived you is being cleared. The light in you has always been there. Other people's ability to see it clearly was what was being compromised. Now that the source of the interference has been removed, that light will land differently. People will notice you in ways they somehow overlooked before. They will be drawn to say things to you that they have been holding back. They will offer things they did not think to offer when the interference was present. And the person who is being drawn toward you, the one of influence and resource and reach whose spirit cannot stop orienting toward yours, they will find that their pull toward you becomes less confusing and more clarified. They will begin to move from feeling drawn to making moves, from thinking of you to reaching toward you, from sensing something to deciding to follow that sense, rather than rationalize it away. Do not close your heart when this begins. Do not respond to incoming goodness with suspicion. Do not immediately begin searching for the catch, for the reason it cannot possibly be as good as it looks, for the way it will eventually disappoint you. That instinct, while understandable, is the final remnant of the snake's influence, the echo of a voice that spent a long time telling you that good things arrive with hidden conditions. That voice does not belong to heaven. It belongs to the season you are leaving. You do not need to carry it with you into the one you are entering. Stay exactly who you are. Do not perform. Do not become a curated version of yourself, designed to seem more deserving. The person coming toward you is not being drawn to a performance. They have seen performances. They live in a world full of them. What is pulling them toward you specifically, what heaven is using as the thread to guide them in your direction, is your genuine self, the unpolished, unhurried, authentically real version of you that has survived a long and difficult season without becoming something it was not meant to be. Who you are is precisely what heaven is using. Trust that. Write the words "it is done" in the comments, not as a prayer still ascending, as a declaration of something that has already landed, because faith is not the act of asking heaven to do something. Faith is the act of agreeing with what heaven has already done. I want to tell you about a prayer you offered in private, on a night when the silence around you was heavier than usual. You were not dramatic about it. You just went still and began to speak from somewhere beneath your thoughts, from a place so deep that the words almost did not come as words at all. You were asking for something simple, not for wealth, not for recognition, just for the confusion to end, for one sign that you had not been forgotten, for the heaviness to lift long enough that you could breathe. Archangel Michael was in that room, not as a concept, as a presence, real and attentive and completely focused, recording every word you said and feeling every word you could not say, carrying all of it directly upward with a fierce advocacy that would undo you if you could witness it. Heaven was not passive that night. Heaven was moved. The kind of moved that acts. The answer to that prayer is not somewhere in the future still forming. It is here. It arrived in the form of this specific message, finding you in this specific moment when your heart was finally open enough to let it in. Everything Archangel Michael is speaking over you today is the answer taking shape in real time. The snake is caught. The path is clear. The person is coming. The season is turning. And you are standing at the exact center of all of it. Write the words "I receive this" in the comments if you are open to what heaven is releasing over your life right now. Say it as someone who has decided, not someone still considering. The season ahead does not have space for a half-open door. It requires a full yes. And heaven has been waiting patiently for yours. Now, I want to speak about what happens after the breakthrough, because this is the part most people do not prepare for and therefore stumble through when it arrives. They feel the shift. They begin to see the early signs of what was promised. And then old patterns rush back in, and they find themselves shrinking back to the size the old season required. They apologize for taking up space. They second-guess every good thing that comes toward them, preparing themselves for disappointment before they have any reason to. They do this not because they are weak, but because the body and the mind remember every previous time hope arrived and then changed shape. Archangel Michael does not want that for you. So let me be clear. When the doors begin opening, and they will, walk through them without apologizing. When the person of influence begins moving toward you, and they will, do not cut yourself down to seem more accessible. Do not rehearse your flaws as a way of preempting rejection. Let yourself be seen at full size, because what is being drawn to you was drawn to full-size you, not the compressed version you present when you are afraid of being too much. When opportunities arrive in forms you did not predict, and they will, do not dismiss them, because they do not match the image you built in your mind of how the blessing would come. Heaven rarely delivers things in the exact shape of the container we prepared to hold them. Stay flexible enough to receive what actually comes. You have spent long enough making yourself smaller. That is finished. This is the season where you occupy exactly the space you were always meant to fill. The person coming toward you is bringing more than connection. They are bringing access. Doors that felt sealed will open because of their presence in your life. Resources that felt distant will become available. Your ceiling is becoming your floor, but you have to decide to believe this before you see the evidence of it. The kind of belief that stands in an empty room and speaks to the fullness that has not arrived yet, as though it is already present. That is the belief heaven responds to. Write the words "I am ready" in the comments, not as polite acknowledgement, as a statement from a spirit that is done waiting and is walking toward the door. Let me tell you what Archangel Michael sees when he looks at your future. Not symbolically, the actual texture of your real life moving forward from this moment. He sees you whole, not recovering, not maintaining careful distance from your own joy in case something disrupts it. Whole in the fullest meaning of that word, at peace in a way that does not rise and fall with the weather of daily life. Connected in a way that multiplies rather than depletes. In relationship that adds to what is already in you and calls forward the parts of you that have been waiting for someone to make space for them. He sees the mornings changing, the first thought of the day shifting from bracing for what might go wrong to a quiet readiness for what is coming. He sees laughter returning, the real kind rising up from somewhere genuine, because something is genuinely, actually good. He sees the version of you that has always existed underneath everything that was working to suppress it. That version is not a stranger or a fantasy. It is who you already are, underneath the weight that is lifting, underneath the interference that is clearing, underneath the season that is ending. This is what heaven is releasing, not as a future possibility, as a present reality in the process of becoming visible, and you do not have to earn this anymore. The earning is done. It happened in every moment you kept going when stopping would have been easier, in every prayer offered into silence, in every act of kindness extended to people who never returned it, in every morning you woke up and chose, quietly, without ceremony, to try again. That was the work. It is complete. Now comes the harvest. Before this message ends, I want to say one final thing, and I need you to let it reach somewhere below the part of you that processes words and files them underheard and understood. I need it to reach the place where things actually change. You are not behind. I know how it looks sometimes. I know the weight of sitting with the distance between where you are and where you thought you would be by now. I know that watching other people receive things you have been praying for can feel like evidence of something you do not want to believe, but cannot stop wondering about in the dark. It is not evidence of that. It is not evidence of anything except that other people are on different timelines that have nothing to do with yours. Your path has never been behind. It has always been separate, uniquely drawn, running on a calendar that belongs only to you, measured by no standard, except the one that exists between you and the God who wrote it. The reason it has taken this long is not that you are less deserving. It is that what is coming required the preparation to be complete before it could arrive. It required the snake to be removed. It required the pruning that hurt more than you expected, but grew something in you that ease never would have. It required the quiet season where you had nothing to hold on to except the stubborn, unexplainable refusal to stop believing. That refusal is exactly what called Archangel Michael to this moment. He did not come to speak to someone who had given up. He came to confirm something to someone who is still here, still breathing, still standing, still open. After everything that tried to close you, that is you, and heaven is not simply satisfied with you. Heaven is proud of you. In the way that tears rise to a parent's eyes when they watch their child rise after falling, in the way that love looks at something it made and recognizes it is exactly what it was always meant to be. Heaven looks at you and says, I knew you would make it. I always knew. If this message has moved something real in you today, if something shifted while you were listening, I need you to do 3 things before you leave. First, write the words I am chosen in the comments, not for anyone watching. For yourself, as a spoken declaration over your own life that you are open, you are positioned, and you are receiving what heaven has released today. Second, subscribe to this channel, because what Archangel Michael is bringing in the next message is even more specific, even more direct, and you will want to be here when it arrives. The next word will continue what began here and take it further than this one was able to go. Third, stay until the very last moment of this video, because the final release, the final spiritual confirmation over everything that was spoken today happens in the closing heaven honors completion. Let this be complete. Archangel Michael does not weep over your situation anymore. When he looks at what is coming for you, when he sees the cleared road and the open doors and the person already being guided toward you by something they cannot name, he does not grieve. He celebrates. He celebrates you, the specific, singular, chosen before the world began version of you that has been held in waiting long enough, that has been tested thoroughly enough, that has been prepared completely enough. Your hiding season is over. Your waiting room is empty. What was written for you before you were born is on its way to you right now, and it will know you when it arrives. It was designed for exactly who you are, and who you are has never been the problem. Who you are has always been the answer. Do not shrink back from it. Do not qualify it. Do not make yourself smaller so that receiving it feels less overwhelming. Open your hands. Open your heart. Receive it all, every part of it, with the quiet, unshakable certainty of someone who always knew, somewhere in the deepest place, that this moment was coming. It is here now. You are seen. You are chosen. You are loved beyond the reach of any language that can hold it. And everything that was promised to you, everything that was written over your life before you could speak your own name, is finally, irreversibly, beautifully on its way home.